Oh, Donovan Mitchell, 71 points, 8 rebounds, 11 assists. Carl, first thoughts on that? I mean, what first reaction when you read off that stat line, when you watch the highlights, what are your first thoughts on it?
First thoughts was I know I'm going to sound like a hater. I'm just going to say this is way better than Devin Booker's 70-point game. Like it's not even it's just not even a debate because that game wasn't close. This game was close. It went into overtime. So they needed every bit of those 71 points most likely. So it's impressive really because he's 6'1", giving dudes business like that. That are 6'8" or 6'8 plus on the court.
Yeah.
That's like I don't think people like he's not that tall. He is 6'1", scoring 71 points.
We talked about that a little bit like earlier, even before it was crazy. We were talking about it before the game. We said those shorter NBA guys that are scoring like that or whatever, some of the most skilled ball players on the planet. And when you look at Donovan Mitchell as a player, his bag of tricks, the way he's able to put the ball through the basket, it's insane. Even when you're thinking about comparing him, because you immediately mentioned the Devin Booker game, like when you're comparing him to Devin Booker's great, but Donovan Mitchell's bag is way bigger than Devin Booker's or whatever the case may be. And he put it on full display tonight. Every way Donovan Mitchell scores, we saw it like at its highest today against Chicago. When you mentioned it, it wasn't like, 71, 8 and 11 in a blowout. It was that, and they were playing behind. And they threw like every defender they could at him, whatever the case may be. It was insane. Blake, what were your first thoughts on it when you first read that stat line off? Because you called me. You was like, did you just...
No, I was driving back home from all. I think I was the last when I got home. I was driving back home and I was in a Chick-fil-A line for my mama, and I looked at my phone and I said, "You got 71." Yeah, because I was scrolling. And I said, "Oh, Donovan Mitchell after his 71-point game," and I thought somebody was kidding. So I looked his name up and it said 71. I said, "Good Lord, when did he get?" Because I didn't hear anything about it. I didn't get a notification about it.
Yeah, they said Kyrie. This is what Kyrie said because Kyrie previously had the Cavs record for the like most points scored in the game or whatever.
Yeah,
Kyrie said he was playing Modern Warfare with him or something. What is that, Call of Duty earlier in today? And he said I could tell. Donovan Mitchell looked locked in on that game. So I don't know. He looked like he was gonna go out there and tear them boys up.
Yeah,
he didn't say 71 points, but he just said he could tell the way he was playing the game in the afternoon, like he was locked in.
Yeah,
that's what Kyrie said. That Donovan Mitchell has quietly been on a tear this season. He's averaging almost 30. I think this performance kind of catapults his name. It should be. I don't know how y'all feel about this, but maybe his name should be mentioned in that MVP conversation.
No, I'm glad you brought that up because when we're talking about these before, like the last 3 or 4 weeks, the MVP scale has been tipping with every one of these guys are just putting up these insane performances. To start the season off, it was Tatum. I think he had like a 50-point game or whatever the case may be, and then Joker comes around and he has a couple of like these 40-point triple doubles. And then now Luka comes back around. We see him score 50 and then he had 50 maybe a couple nights ago. And before that, it was that 60-point triple double. And now we look at Donovan Mitchell. He may have catapulted himself back, if he wasn't in there, back into that top 5 of the MVP combo. And you look at the Cavs right now, I mean, they're 4th in the Eastern Conference, I think. He's going to be averaging 30 after this is said and done. He's going to right back into the combo because for a minute it was just Tatum, Joker, and Luka, and that's all we were talking about. Now Mitchell does what he does, and he's right back in there. It's really crazy to think about. I asked the guys on Snapchat the other day, I was like, yo, is this the craziest MVP race ever? Because we're just seeing these insane performances. Every single candidate in that top 5 has put up an insane performance this season. I don't think we've ever seen it. Like these guys are putting up masterpieces, but out of all of them, this is the most impressive. I don't know how you can top a 60-point triple-double. You top it with 71 points, 8 rebounds, and 11 assists in an overtime game. And they threw everybody at him, and he still was getting buckets on him. It was crazy.
The crazy thing is, you said, how can you top a 60-point triple-double? This man almost had a 70-point triple-double. He was 2 rebounds short of a 70-point triple-double, which is like insane. Especially, I'm going to keep saying this. At 6'1", you almost have a 71-point triple-double. That makes no sense. What that tells me? Like you said, his bag is just on another level.
Donovan Mitchell's scoring bag is on a completely different level. And I know people have always seen it, but remember when Mitchell kind of came in to his first season, what did he do? He led that Utah team to the second round of the playoffs. They beat, I think, OKC in the first round. That was an OKC roster that was a good roster.
Torched them.
Torched them. They were putting some of their best guys on him. This has been in his DNA. Carl and Blake, we talked about this before. We were always kind of like, if there's that one guy who can score 50 or 60 this season, who could it be? And we named a lot of dudes. Was Donovan Mitchell on your list of dudes you'd expect to get 60 or whatever, or 70? Was he on that list? I know, Carl, you may have asked, who's the first guy? Who would you expect to get 70 points, first? And you had like a list of guys.
Yeah, I did ask that.
Mitchell, you did ask that, which was crazy.
Yeah.
But was Donovan Mitchell ever a dude y'all consider for that?
Nah.
I don't think. I think kind of far farther. Well, I wouldn't say ever, but not like this. Not like this is random. It's just like a random outburst of 70 points.
Random as hell.
That's so random.
Yeah.
And if it goes another overtime, he gets 80. If he goes another, do y'all sit there and think about that? If that goes another overtime, he gets 80 points. Okay, and then now let's go. Then we're immediately. Then after that happens, let's say that happens, then we're immediately, then we're immediately comparing him to Kobe's 80. Does that become better than Kobe's 80? Because that's a double overtime game. That's 80. It's probably 80 points, 12 boards, and 10 assists when it's said and done. Maybe.
I tell him I'll let him go for 100.
Man, oh my God.
I'll say his 71 to me is better than Kobe's 80 simply for the fact because the game is competitive. That game with Kobe scoring 81, that wasn't a competitive game, right? Was it like they were blowing them out?
Let me look that up real quick. Keep talking, but let me look that up real quick.
I'm pretty sure
they blew them out.
I think they were blowing like Toronto out.
Yeah.
So I would already say his 71 is better than Kobe. And kudos to Kobe for scoring 81 points. But I just think based off the game being more competitive, Donovan Mitchell 71 is probably a better type of game like that.
I would say this is probably the best game of our best individual performance of our era of watching basketball of our generation. I would say. I would say because the other one would be Kobe's. Yeah. Kobe's may have been a little before our time. Kobe's game was in 2006, so that was before we started watching it, and that wasn't really Gen Z's era of basketball. I would definitely say, I don't know, that Lakers game, let's see, going into the fourth, it was close enough, but it wasn't like this where the stakes were a little higher. And I think, and like you said, Mitchell's 70 points, a lot of in the fourth quarter, they came from him trying to get this team back into the game. So this probably is the best game of our era of watching basketball for sure. I would say so.
Yeah, because it's just simply based off the fact that, like you said, the fact that he had 71 in a competitive game versus Kobe's, which Toronto, they kind of blew him out towards the end. It's just if they probably would have taken him out, would have gotten 81 points? That's a valid question. But the fact that they needed all of Donovan Mitchell's 71 points going into overtime tells you that them were valuable points. And they're not empty calories, as they would say.
It's a crazy league we're living in right now. We're watching right now. It really, I think going back to what I said about this thing, each MVP candidate, in that top five, outside of maybe KD's had great games, but Luka, Joker, Tatum, and Donovan Mitchell have all had jaw-dropping performances. Last week, if you would have said there was going to be a game in the next 5 years that was more impressive than what Luka did, I would have called you crazy. And then it actually happens a week later. Think about that. That's absolutely next level. Mitchell, this is the type of performance we kind of wanted to see from him, because a question we asked on the pod was, this is the season we can kind of prove or talk about, or this is the season when we can kind of see, is Donovan Mitchell that guy? Where do we measure him at? Is he a top 10 player? Does he have top 5 potential? Where are we going to measure Donovan Mitchell at after this season? And this is going to be his chance to kind of prove it. And with a game like this, he just proved a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One of those guys now where I think all he needs is a ring, because he's already proven the playoff thing. He's already proven the regular season stuff. He just needs a ring right now to kind of solidify himself. But he's put himself there in elite territory. We didn't think so before. He's definitely a top 10 player. He jumped up. I ain't gonna lie, just from this one game, he jumped up a lot of spots. He jumped up a lot of spots just off of one game.
Yeah, because you have to. It's so many dudes now, including Donovan Mitchell, because that 29.3 is going to jump up because of that 71 points. We have so many dudes in the game today averaging 30-plus points.
Yep.
It's like I don't know whether to ridicule that. It's like, is it bad defense or if it's bad offense? But I'm gonna just be positive. I'm gonna be in the middle and say it's just great. I'm gonna just say it's greater talent. It's just becoming great and just not always bad defense. It's just the game is becoming more advanced. I'm going to just say that. But